History of Chinnamunda. Chinnamunda officially appears during the Tantric phase of Buddhism. And however, there are possible prototypes of her existence, Kotavi, Koravai, and also early Durga depictions. What's similar among all of these prototypes is that they are fierce females or demonesses or warrior goddesses. However, these prototypes are not exactly Chinnamunda. They're only an inspiration, we could argue, because specifically they do not engage in self-decapitation. And this is a very important symbol of the deity. Chinnamunda, however, is first appearing in the Buddhist tradition, then before Hinduism, and it began in India during the Tantric phase. And Shah describes, author of a course text, that it eventually spread to Nepal and other parts of Asia, where she gained popularity in the Tantric practice. However, this quickly faded away as well and really just stuck to the southern Indian regions, where only few temples are dedicated to her. And as we will see, worship to the deity is very rare. Here are a few images of the possible prototypes before Chinnamunda's rise in the Tantric tradition. On the left, we can see Koravai, I believe, which is a South Indian hunting goddess that could have inspired the rise of Chinnamunda as well as Durga. On the right, the stone figure with the red, I believe it is an image of Kotavi, which is a deity mentioned in the Bhagavata Purana. Origin stories. There are a few different variations of Chinnamunda's origin. In the Hindu tradition, where she is called Chinnamasta, side note, she is an aspect of Parvati, which is a consort of Shiva, and Shiva is, of course, part of the Hindu Trinity, one could say. She is an aspect of Parvati and part of the 10 Mahavidyas, which are just different versions of that goddess. And Chinnamasta or Chinnamunda is one of those 10. And the Mahavidya is, of course, more so popular in the Tantric practice than purely the Hindu practice. And the Hindu texts go on to describe how Chinnamasta or Chinnamunda is a feminine divine or an aspect of Shakti overall. But if we get to the Buddhist sources of the deity, most Buddhist sources describe her as a manifestation of Vajravarahi, or in other words, the feminine Buddha. There are additional legends that describe young women devotees who engage in self-decapitation as a sign of devotion, and they often personify or symbolize Chinnamunda. And if we look into these origin stories, we can see that the critical themes of Chinnamunda is her decapitation and self-sacrifice, and also nourishment. And important to mention is that in the origin stories, after Chinnamunda decapitates herself, she feeds her blood to her two devotees, which are beside her, as you can see in this picture over here. But we can get more into that in the iconography part of this lecture. But critical themes are self-sacrifice, the nourishment of her friends there, and also spiritual awakening and paradox, as we will later on see. Ritual. Chinnamunda remains significant in the tantric practice of yoga and Hindu kundalini. And especially in the tantric practice, yogic traditions like like Kundalini and also the Buddhist variation of it, is supposed to bring enlightenment and liberation quicker, one could say, than the more conventional route of liberation that are found in other Buddhist sects and Hindu sects. The worship of her yantra is also a common ritual, and the yantra is on the top left there, that strange symbol, which is supposed to symbolize and invoke the goddess, Chinnamunda. Other goddesses and deities do have yantras in the tantric religion, and that one specifically is Chinnamunda's. If you look to the right of that, you will see a copper slate. Also having Chinnamunda's yantra, and Chinnamunda herself is depicted on that slate. You can't really see it clearly, but it's there, and there are sacred writings beneath that. Sacred tantric texts explain how worship of Chinnamunda is done so through extreme measures, which could be considered quote unquote left-handed path type of enlightenment, which includes engaging in activity that Buddhists would often prohibit, such as eating meat or sexual activities. However, in the tantric tradition, this is thought to bring enlightenment quickly, but yet it is dangerous, which is why it is considered to be what we Westerners would call left-handed or satanic, or just a different way of attaining enlightenment. And of course, the worship of this deity is not only meant to bring quick enlightenment, which is what the tantric rituals will do, but one may invoke Chinnamunda for also security and control, influence, and even attraction of the opposite sex. So this deity is quite important when it comes to getting your way through powerful measures or getting what you want. However, many people would consider this, although very helpful, it is also dangerous to attain. That is why Chinnamunda worship is rare, and there are only few select temples dedicated to her. The picture on the very bottom with the idol is located in a specific temple dedicated to her, but seeing this is quite a sight because it is very rare to find. So there's that image of her idol and shrine. So my analysis of Chinnamunda really is based on three main concepts. The first one is a non-dual reality. Found in Shaw's book, our class text, it says, she writes, when energies abide in the central channel, they no longer support dualistic thought. And in this chapter, she was describing how through Chinnamasta worship and engaging in Kundalini yoga, where one can control the energies in the body, when they are placed in the center of your being, there are no dualities. There is no left or right, black and white, female or male. And that is illustrated through Chinnamunda's symbolism with her severing her head, which with that along comes severing the realities of a dual reality, because the head is an aspect, or you can consider the head to symbolize where all of our knowledge comes from, of the dual reality. Removing the head, therefore, removes all pluralizing aspects and concepts that prevents us from attaining enlightenment. So I thought that was a very important principle to learn from the goddess. The rebirth process is also a major motif, because Chinnamunda's self-decapitation, which is basically a self-immolation or engaging in suicide, provides nourishment for her devotees. However, she still survives. She does not die in the myth. And therefore, from her supposed death comes the life and nourishment and more cosmic creation. And in a way, she kind of defies death, defines life and defines the rebirthing, reincarnation, or cyclical process, you could say. The third and last concept I've gotten from this deity is overcoming and embracing desire. Chinnamunda is almost often depicted on top of a couple engaging in making love. And her standing on top of them could really mean two things. On the one hand, she could be toppling over or overcoming desire or overcoming sexual desire or any other desires that we may have that are carnal and are considered to be vices. But in the same way, she can also be viewed as attaining energy from the couple. And I think that is just very important how that could be. There's both opposites where you embrace yet overcome, and I just think that is a very interesting way to interpret her, and also that it coincides with the other concept of non-duality and non-dual wisdom.